Good morning, guys. Bitcoin seems to be holding after reaching that 38,600 level that we talked about on my update yesterday. So this is where I'm going to start making some plans, and I'm going to go through that with you in this video. I'm actually going to start planning for some low cap coin purchases. So I want to go through things about 4 or 5 that I've marked out this morning that I'm looking for. We're not quite there yet, so this is definitely a very early call. I'm going to show you what I need to see happen in Bitcoin first before I'm willing to buy in, and then what I need to see happen on each of the low cap coins. So if you're here for some kind of early investments, you know, it's very early to be investing in low caps, but I'm kind of done with my high caps and medium. I've been investing in those since last January, so I'm basically in as much as I want to be on those. And so now my attention is switching towards some low caps. So I'm going to go through a few that I'm looking at with you on this video and show you where I will actually be buying. So if that is of interest to you, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe nice and early if you're not already subscribed. And yeah, let's get into these coins. All right, so first things first, let's take a look at Bitcoin, because this is the area I spoke about yesterday. I showed you guys that there were buy orders sitting between 38,100 and 38,800. And I was a little bit skeptical that they may have been fake orders. So I was cautioned you guys to wait to see what price did but when we got there, rather than just blindly buying. So we can see here that we did spike into a little bit lower than the 38.8. We came to about 38.5 kind of area. And that's where we had this little bit of a bounce. It's very weak. And what we need to wait for now, if we're to believe that that was it and that's going to hold as the new support and we're going up from there, is we've got a really critical level that must break next. And what that level is this green line right here that sits at $40,300. That is the low of last week. So the low of the last week, once it gets broken, it acts as a new resistance. And currently we've had just this one candle here in the UK session that has tried to break above it, but it's closed back below in the following candle. So we really need to get a break back above that low of last week and hold above it if we're to see any further upside from here. So just be really, really careful of that, because if we cannot do that, then it's not going to be the right time to invest in any low cap coins or any altcoins, in my opinion. We've still got more downside to come. So first disclaimer before anything else in this video is we need to see Bitcoin get back above the low of the week. Now, what it may do, it may just continue to slow trend up and then come back for a retest and hold. That would be great. But the other thing it could do is it could be in the process of creating a multi-day W formation, which means we've got many days before we have the opportunity to be taking long positions. And so the multi-day W would mean that this whole side here is a left side of the W only, and we will reject at the low of the week, come back down over the next day or two, and create a higher low somewhere. And if we create that higher low, only if we create it, and we get some bullish candlestick structures around that level, then we would expect the right side of the W to form. And that could mean that we finish out this week potentially looking positive. So we have to really exercise patience here. But if we reject the low of the week and we start coming down, A, that would be a short-term short position, so you could day trade that. But B, you would just be waiting down here to see if we do get a higher low. And the perfect place to get the higher low is going to be today's initial low of the day at around 39,200 kind of level. That would be a great low of the day, but it really, in all reality, it could come all the way back to this blue vector here and give us the second side all the way back down there, which would be between 38,760 to 39,060. So yeah, this would take a while to play out if it was going to turn out being that way. So two things we have to keep an eye out on is that potential formation happening, or it doesn't happen at all. We break above the low of the week, we come back to retest it, we hold it, and then we're good to go. So first things first, we've got to see if Bitcoin does those two things. Next thing, we would have to keep an eye on the dominances. So on the left of my screen here is the Bitcoin dominance, which is just consolidating after a move up. We've got the USDT dominance is actually pulling back, which is decent. That might mean, providing it holds, that might mean that we may get people starting to put money back into crypto soon or shifting out of stable coins. So keep an eye on that one. We're looking for that to change structure, which it hasn't yet. It's definitely very early, but keep an eye on that one. And the others, which is the altcoin market minus the top 10. This is why I want to minus the top 10, because I'm interested in whether or not people, like how risk on are people. Are they willing to go into low caps and medium caps, or are they just sticking to the safer, kind of top 10 coins? And this is rising really quite nicely. So it does tell me that people may be willing to go a little bit risky right now, and that could mean that they are seeing this as a buy the dip moment. So we need to see if that continues as well and starts to create bullish structure with higher highs and higher lows. And if all of that looks good and Bitcoin gives us what we want, we can invest in these coins. So let's have a look at the coins that I'm talking about. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Trias. We can see here, bear market, very long period of accumulation. It's had its breakout to the upside and is now retracing. So when we have a look at the chart for Trias, this is what it looks like. So I initially got into Trias down here at 3.95. right down here before this breakout, and I'm looking to load up on this. And there's two areas of interest for me. We're currently bouncing in my first one, but I was also interested in a zone kind of down here as well if we kept breaking down. I haven't added to this position yet, but I do like that we have bounced out of this area of interest currently, but we're still under the 50 and the 200 EMA. So when it comes to investing, I only do these spot. Okay, so I'm not looking to leverage trade any of the coins that I'm talking about on the rest of this video. So that's number one. And number two is I prefer to buy into strength. So when I'm day trading, I am trying to look for the highest area possible to short and the lowest area possible to long, provided I have that very early confirmation that a trend is about to change. So that basically means I'm looking to short second peak M's, and I'm looking to long second peak W's when they're in the right spot. But when it comes to investing, I don't want to be a bottom picker, if that makes sense. So I'm looking to make sure that the structure is actually changing before I get involved, because then I can set and forget, and I have my targets. You can see here, all of these lines here that you see with the alert on them, they're all basically alerting me when I've made 100% profit, 200%, 300%, etc. So I'm already up on this one 100% at this alert here. And if we can get back to 11.85, that will be 200. But I have made it up to the 300. But this is long term. Like, I'm not looking to sell these until I feel like we're sort of starting to peak in the bull market. And that's not going to be, until Bitcoin passes its all-time highs. In the context of crypto, I'm long term on these, which is more than a year. So with that in mind, this, whilst it's having a nice bounce, it hasn't changed structure yet. So what I would be waiting for on this, if Bitcoin does what I want it to do, I would be assuming that this is starting to create the first side of a W. And if it can come out from this zone and come back to give me the higher low, and this is all on a 4-hour time frame. When I'm investing, I consider the daily, and if the daily looks like it's macro bullish, then I'm looking at the 4-hour for my entries. I don't really look any lower than that. And I'm usually looking for price to hold the 200 EMA. So in this case, it would be a W that I would kind of want to break out back to a previous vector, which would be this magenta one right here. And we can see here that we have wicked to it once. So I would want to see the middle peak come back into this zone, then come back for the second side. And hopefully the second side would hold the 200 EMA, which is the yellow one on my chart. And if it held there, then that is where I would get involved, because now I have confirmation of the market structure change, and I would expect that that is going to, head up from that point onwards. So it's not necessarily a price target that I'm looking to buy in, because the price would be now, right? I'm looking for the structure to change. So I want the breakout first. Then I want the retracement. I want to see a W kind of formation or a bullish formation, and I want to hold the 200 EMA. Then I would get involved in this. The other thing I look for when investing is if the RSI has hit the oversold region. And on this one thing I really do love is RSI divergences. Shout out to 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗵, because he was the one who taught me about RSI divergences, especially when the divergence happens when one of those peaks is in the oversold or overbought region. So this is looking good because we have the low down here, which was just touched on oversold. And then we had this one is a higher low. But when you match that up to price, we had a low here and then a lower low. So that's looking good to me. And now I'm just waiting for the market structure to change on this one. Then I'll get involved. The next one I'm looking at is Alephium. And Alephium, same thing, had our peak, had our bear market, really long period of accumulation. And then we've had our big spike out to the upside, currently with a retracement going on that one. So when we look at the chart, that's what it looks like right now. And we can see here that at this point in time, it looks like we're reclaiming the 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. So that's really good. We also did hit the RSI oversold a number of times here, and we came back into a previous unrecovered vector. So I'm liking this, but again, I like we've broken the 200 EMA. I need the structure to change on this one. So however much it runs, let it run. I still want to see after it's finished its initial move to the upside that it comes back, gives me a high low, and then I would be looking to trade that up much further. Now, I don't actually have this one at all. I learned about it a little bit too late. So I'm looking to get in as my first buy on this one if we do come back for that higher low. So yeah, keep an eye on the 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame for this one. And the next one on my list is Nexa. Same deal. Really, all of these you'll find on a macro scale. When I click to the all on this chart, you'll see that they have peaked in the bull market. They've had a long bear market, and then they've gone into this accumulation phase, had the initial breakout, and are coming back for the retest. That's kind of my criteria for everything I'm talking about on this video today. So that kind of looks decent to me. So now when I go to the actual chart of Nexa, we can see this one here. And so here we go. We have this breakout to the upside. We have this initial move down. We've held this as support. We've had this breakout here and a retrace. Now, the retrace has come back a little bit too far for my liking. So I'm a little bit hesitant to go in on this one right now. I am waiting just a little bit longer. The good news is that this breakout here did create a higher high in relation to this one. And at this point in time, this low here is a higher low in comparison to this one and this one here. So there are positives, but these current candles look very weak to me. And after the initial breakout was almost 100% recovery. So I'm a bit cautious about buying this one just yet. I want a little bit more proof before I go in on it. So I'm waiting a little bit longer. If we can get back above the 50 EMA on this on the 4-hour and hold above it, maybe that's what it's going to take. But once we do that, we're then going to be in between the 50 and the 200, which is a no trade zone. So I'm going to have to get back to you on this one when I actually do pull the trigger on it. But I am watching it closely, and what I'm looking for is the wicks to kind of disappear. You can see how these candles here and even here, when they made that initial kind of move to the trend line, it's very wick heavy on the top of the candle. So I'm kind of looking for those wicks to get taken over and to just show me that buyers are around on this one. And I'm not really convinced of that just yet, but it could be getting close. I'm going to watch this one. And my first thing is get back above the 50, hold above the 50. If it holds above the 50, then whilst it's holding, the 200 will move down even more. So 200 will do something like that. The 50 will do something like that. Price action will break above and hold here, and then eventually I'll get a 200 break and retest anyway, and maybe there is where I'll get involved. So yeah, still watching this one, but it's definitely on my watch list. I'm just waiting for that final trigger to actually make a move on it. This one's a little bit different because this one is Astra DAO, and this has been around since the start of January last year. So it hasn't had that full bull market, the low bear market accumulation phase, but we have broken out. We do have this retrace going on currently. So that gives me a reason to go and have a look at this one on the charts. Now, I did get into this one earlier down here. So that's my first entry on it, but I am looking to accumulate some more of this, whenever it's cheap. And I am liking that this level here, which is at 450 million zeros, then 6365, it's looking like that's holding and support currently, but it hasn't actually changed structure yet. So I like that it's holding support. If it continues to hold support, then I'm waiting for it to break out of this trend line, because a break of the trend line, just to know, I don't trade trend lines. I don't believe in them. I don't like them. I think diagonal lines are the worst thing in history when it comes to trading, but I put them there because I want to understand what retail would be looking at. Usually when I say a break of a trend line, there's going to be an EMA that is around that trend line, and that is the thing that I'm actually looking at. So when you look at this, you can see that the 50 EMA is here. Now, as price continues sideways, the 50 EMA is going to match up with the trend line. And then once it actually breaks out, so price does something like this, and then it actually breaks out, it's going to make a go for the 200. Look here, it went for the 200, which is the yellow EMA, went for the 200, went for the 200. That's what it does. The 200 EMA acts as support, and then it acts as resistance, right? So that's what I'm more interested in. So I would let it do that breakout past the 200, come back, and then here is where I would get involved. So I'm looking for this to get back above and hold above the 200 EMA, which, if that were to happen, would happen to break the trend line as well. So if I get all of that, that is where I will add to my initial position on Astra DAO. And next one is Ironfish. And Ironfish, same thing, very deep bear market, long period of accumulation, had the initial breakout, coming back for a retest. Perfect. Ticks all the boxes. So let's have a look at the chart on this one. And we can see here, again, I also am a bit late on this one. So I'm just looking for the cheapest area to buy. That is a confirmation that that's as cheap as it's going to get for now. And currently it's holding the 800 EMA, which is positive on the 4-hour time frame. It has hit the oversold region once before around this low area, so that's kind of good. Not seeing any volume on it yet, so I haven't taken action yet. But what I'm looking for now is to see if this green vector here, this little stop hunt that's kind of spiked off the 800 EMA, if we don't return back to that candle, then I would expect that the market structure will change on this soon. So if it does break out, again, look here, this is the 50 EMA, which is right in line with the trend line. So it would break out, it would make a run for the 200, give me the high low outside of the trend line. And if I got that, then that is where I would get involved in this one. So close, but not there. As you can see, I don't watch these every day because these are 4-hour candles, and you get 6 of them in a day. So it can be days, weeks before the actual trigger presents. But my alert is on this trend line. Once it breaks, that's when I'll have a look at what the price action is doing. And I also have it on support, because if my alert goes off on the support, then that means it's broken below this candle and I have to reset on this trade idea. So essential that we hold the 800 EMA on this one. Now for this one, you can actually buy this one on BingX, which is one of our preferred exchanges. And BingX is available in very many countries. So if you are looking for an exchange to trade on and to buy some of these low caps, definitely check out BingX. There is a link in the description down below. It's actually a very, very easy platform to use. Once you've created your account, you can just come up here to do a quick buy for crypto. If that's what you want to do, you can do a bank deposit depending on what country you're in. And then you would just come over here to the spot section, click on spot, and then you would just click on this drop down here and type in the coin you want to buy, in this case, iron. And then you can simply just enter in here how much of it you want to buy. If you're interested in BingX, be sure to grab the link from the description down below, because the last one that I'm going to show you is actually Annii here, Hivemapper. And this one's been doing really well actually. So again, long bear market, long accumulation phase, had a breakout, retrace, had another breakout, it's currently retracing again, and this one is also available on BingX. So let's have a look at the chart for this one. Now, what I'm liking so far about this one is that it seems to be holding this support here at 0.17, where it was previously a resistance. We broke through, came back to test it as support, and after this initial massive move and retracement, we've come back to hold it again. It's definitely not ready yet. That's the one thing about this one is, even though we've had this initial bounce, there's no volume that's come in yet. These candles are tiny. We didn't actually hit the oversold region on this one. So there is a chance that this will come down further, because there is more of this vector candle to recover as well. So this isn't necessarily like I'm going to buy if there's a W formation. I mean, I will, but I do think that there's a chance this will come lower. So if it came here to the 50 EMA, rejected and gave us a lower low, if that lower low held this green vector here, that's where I would reset and start looking for the W out of that. So that's kind of my bearish case scenario. If it broke any lower than that, then I have to do a full reset. So I'm expecting this to come down lower, but I'm watching to see if it actually doesn't and it does hold this level. So this would be scenario 1, which would mean that this vector right here on the 4-hour time frame, it's at about 0.128 would be the absolute lowest the price could go, and then I would look for a structure change. But if we don't get back in there and this does turn out to be the left side of a W, I would expect it to go up back to this vector here, then come back and give me a higher low. So that's the vector right there that becomes the area of interest. And if we came back in there to create the middle peak, it would also break the 50 EMA. Then I would be looking for the high low out of that. So those are 2 scenarios in which I would actually buy that one. But yeah, none of them right yet. It's still a wait and see on this. Now, guys, remember all of those disclaimers in this video. I don't want you to go panic buying these low cap coins. There's not a lot of volume in the market. You can absolutely get wrecked if you buy too early. So please go back, watch this video again and take notes on it, because there are many conditions before we actually pull the trigger on any of these. Remembering the conditions are Bitcoin needs to break back above its low of the week and hold it and continue to create bullish structure from there. Whether it comes down first before it has that breakthrough, or it breaks through from now and then retests it and hold, whichever scenario it is, we do not pull the trigger until Bitcoin has done that. That we need to check the dominances. We need to make sure that the others dominance, if you're looking on TradingView, it's others.d. Make sure that chart is remaining bullish. The USDT dominance, that we want to see that money is shifting back in, which means USDT should be coming down. And the Bitcoin dominance kind of doesn't matter, because if everything's moving up together and Bitcoin is bullish, then as long as Bitcoin dominance is bullish and the others is bullish as well, your altcoins are probably just actually going to bring you more profit than normal. So yeah, keep an eye on all of those. That's step number 2. And then step number 3 is wait for those final triggers on the 4-hour time frame for all of the coins that are covered in today's video. Let me know what you think of the list. Note that I am just a technical trader, so I'm literally just looking at market structure. I don't marry into these things. I don't care what they do. But be sure to leave me a comment down below and let me know what low caps you're looking into. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next video.